what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another AntlerFeatherCo Podcast, the podcast for new and adult onset hunters. My name's Vince, I'm your host, and on this show, I, a newer and experienced hunter, bring on people who know a whole hell of a lot more about hunting than I do. And as I ask them questions and I learn new things, I just want to pass that info right along to you guys. So for starters, just a reminder, you guys got a little bit, maybe 15 days now or so to get signed up for the AFCO Best Buck Championship. Guys, if you killed a buck this year, get signed up for that. It's totally free for you. We've got a bunch of really great prizes, and I'm going to show a couple of them to you right now. So for starters, if you are the number one AFCO Best Buck champion of this year, you are going to receive the AFCO Best Buck Championship belt. You are also going to receive a brand new Buzzard Roost saddle from Buzzard Roost Saddles and a new set of gas bowstrings from Adams Precision Archery. If you come in second, we decided to partner with a couple more cool companies. If you come in second, you're also going to get a couple bags of coffee from Our Grounds Coffee Co., as well as a cool prize package that I got right here from our new partner, More Innovations. So from them, you're going to get one of these sweet grenade pen holders. I use mine at work every day. It's really cool. You're also going to get the 5-arrow pocket quiver. This thing is just an awesome thing to have with you at the range or for 3D shoots. I've been using mine a lot. I really love it. You're also going to get the wall mount. This is going to go mounted onto your wall, however high or low you need it. And it can hold your arrows and whatever else you want to put in there. If you guys kill a buck, or you little guys kill a buck on a youth tag, you're going to win a Woodhaven Intimidator Grunt Call. You are also going to win, this is so cute, the miniature AntlerFeatherCo Best Buck Championship belt. And then, what else we got? We also got a couple Edible Outdoors Cook hats. And all of those youth prizes are courtesy of Edible Outdoors Cook, who is also a great partner and a great Instagram page to follow. So those are some of the things you guys are going to win. You need to get signed up right away. You're running out of time, so get in on that. Secondly, I want to thank everybody who has gone on to AntlerFeatherCo.com, picked out some gear. I really appreciate it. It's just been awesome to see the support for that, so thank you guys again for that. All right, now I got all that stuff cleared out so I don't knock it all over and ruin it. We're going to share a couple friends of the show with you guys. We're going to start with Buzzard Roost Saddles. What do I got to tell you guys about Buzzard Roost? They are American-made. They support military and law enforcement and first responders. They're just super comfortable. They're very adjustable. I loved sitting in mine all year last season. You need to get your butt into one. Use code AAFP10 if you want to try one out for yourself. That'll save you 10% on your very own Buzzard Roost saddle. Now, the official coffee, got it right here. The official coffee of the AntlerFeatherCo Podcast is Our Grounds Coffee Co. Ed makes some great coffee. My favorite is Roosevelt. I'm really excited. They've got Color Phase coming sometime soon here. That's going to be more of a light roast. If you're into the dark roast coffee, you're going to love Muley Mayhem. So use code all caps AFCO and save yourself 15% on your coffee order from Our Grounds Coffee Co. And one of our new friends of the show, he's not a new friend to me, but he's a new partner to the show. We have partnered with More Innovations. More Innovations is a really great 3D printing company. They kind of cater to the guys who are doing their own bow work at home. He's got a lot of cool cradles and caddies and all these cool things to hold all your tools, your thread, your arrows. No matter what you need, they've got it. And if they don't, you just reach out. And Kyle is a wizard, and he can make whatever you need. They're not necessarily a custom company, but I've seen Kyle whip up some pretty cool stuff. So go check out what More Innovations has to offer. If you use code AFCO10, that is going to save you 10% on your order from More Innovations. All right, guys, so this week we're going to talk all things turkey. I'm getting pretty excited about turkey season. I know it's still kind of far away, but it's close enough that I am just getting overly pumped for it. our guest this week, we're going to just get lost talking turkey. We're going to talk about making turkey calls. We're going to talk about just turkey hunting, different situations we may run into or have run into in the turkey woods. Our guest has also just kicked off his very own turkey call company. I bought one of his turkey calls from him, and let me tell you, it is top notch. I'm not saying this because he's a guest on the show. I'm not saying this for any reason other than I got that call in, and of all of the pot calls I have ever used, this thing kicks ass. It has just a great range from nice and soft and sweet tone to it can get loud and raspy. He's doing it right. Whatever he's doing over there, he's making some very good calls. All right, guys, so please help me welcome to the show Trevyn Batey of Batey Custom Calls. Trevyn, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. Long day at work, but I just got home, started putting together some more calls, actually. So
that's awesome. It seems like you were hard at work getting Batey Customs Calls up and going. How long have you been doing this now formally?
Formally, I mean, I still like to think I'm pretty informal, but honestly...
When did you call it Batey Custom Calls and actually start selling?
Like a month ago.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, not long at all. It's been quite the journey already. I got a lot of friends that turkey hunt, and so I was just like, maybe this will kind of create some traction. But yeah, I never knew it would kind of take off like this. I'm pretty pumped about it.
Well, I mean, so just full disclosure, guys, I found him. I was actually listening to Just One Outdoors. That's where I found Trevyn, and I reached out to him because, as you guys know, Just One, myself, and then Tactical Approach Outdoors, we've kind of been throwing around the idea of a public land challenge in Missouri, and I know that Trevyn is one of Just One. I know Austin. I know you're going to try to leverage him for our competition, so I am trying to actually go out and poach him from you. I reached out to Trevyn and I had him make me a call. I was looking for a specific sound, and I like to run a crystal call, which is very punchy. The Woodhaven Cherry Crystal, it's very loud. It's just a great call, but I wanted something softer. And originally I was looking for slate, and Trevyn recommended. He ended up making me a ceramic call, which is something I've never used before. And my God, guys, let me tell you, you say this has been going for like a month, dude. Your calls sound like you've been making them your entire life for years and years. Like, they're excellent calls. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So if you guys are in the market for a new pot call, don't let that like 1 month thing, don't let that play around in your head. This guy's making legitimate great calls, and they look awesome. Not only do they sound great, they feel great in the hand. They look really nice, and just the way that you have the bases on them, there's like that little, like a lip almost in it, and your fingertips fit just perfectly in there. It's awesome, man. I really, really love it.
Man, well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, we kind of went through, I kind of went through some design changes, kind of with the base. I don't know if you can see it really well. This used to be the original. This was actually like the second call I ever made. It's I think it's a carbon fiber. No, that's not it. This one right here. Carbon fiber with a crystal top. Nice. And I mean, yeah, I kind of talked to my parents, and they were like, you need to get a little more professional if you're going to start selling these. And luckily enough, I got a buddy that I work with, and he actually goes to school down here in an engineering department, and he's got the hookup for a laser engraver. Yeah. So that's been, I've been using that quite a bit. He's been really gracious with letting me use that. So,
well, hopefully, I mean, these calls, guys, they really, really do sound excellent, and hopefully you'll make enough money off and buy your own laser engraver soon, because, man, I'm serious. I love mine. My family they've got to be just driven nuts. You know, between me messing around on that one, getting used to it, messing with all the tones and hitting it with different strikers, and then that and mouth calls, and just I'm sure they're tired of it. We're not even, we're close to turkey season, but we're not that close. So.
Yeah. My wife is already, put me in the separate bedroom to make these calls. I used to make them in our kitchen, and she was like, this isn't happening anymore. So.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to get yourself a new shop then. I think
Absolutely.
it's time to ask her for that. So, how excited are you for turkey season? We had talked off camera. You said you're in Oklahoma. What are your plans for turkey season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pumped. I'm already starting to lose sleep, and it's, I mean, just we're barely in the middle of February.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think making these calls has made me a lot. I mean, I'm always excited about turkey season, don't get me wrong, but making these calls and just watching videos and I mean, everything has just got me so fired up.
Yeah.
I've honestly, my wife is like, it's just a turkey. Like, and I'm like, hold on. I love you, but you got to take that back. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it all my life. And so it's just this time of year. It gets exciting. It's starting to get warmer. Birds are going to start gobbling soon. So I'm going to be, but plans for hunting in Oklahoma. I mean, I've kind of been networking, trying to find some places. There's a few public land places I'm going to try, but I mean, I'm going to start scouting them here pretty soon. But one of my buddies, the same buddy that has the laser engraver, Grant, he is, his grandpa has some land. He's kind of undisclosed, but he's not a hunter. And so that's, he said there's a lot of turkey out there. And so I'll be the judge of that, but I'm really excited.
That's actually perfect. You got a buddy who has land but doesn't hunt, because then you're not in competition with him at all.
Exactly.
You can just take the spot.
Yeah, and honestly, this past deer season, I got one of my other buddies from work. His grandpa has land too, but I didn't have anywhere to deer hunt. And so I was like, hey, do you want to start maybe going hunting with me, or do you want to buy a bow? And he bought everything, bought a bow, started shooting, and he's in love with hunting now. And so, I mean, I think that's what I enjoy the most. I mean, it's great to have places to go now, but I mean, getting people fired up about hunting season like I am. I mean, I have a few buddies from church that are pumped about hunting, but I mean, in Missouri, I had everybody that was my friend was a hunter. And so, I'm going to try to kill a Rio down in Oklahoma. And then I'm going to be making frequent trips to Missouri. My family has property up in Lebanon, Missouri, which is about an hour north of Springfield.
Okay.
And that's where I've done a majority of my turkey hunting growing up. And yeah, there's quite a few birds out there, but I haven't spent much time this year, obviously, since the move and getting married. But I mean, I'm excited. I've got a lot of hope that I hope I can see some birds. That's all I care about.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I know how that goes. I'm going to try to branch out this year. I have my 2 tags for Iowa, first season and 4th season. And then after first in Iowa, I've got a tag for 2nd season Illinois. So I live right on the Illinois-Iowa border. So that's why when everyone's like, oh, you're from Iowa, the deer hunting must be great. I'm like, I'm not from that part of Iowa. Like, we still have some really, really good deer up here, but not like the classic Iowa. But yeah, so I'm going to hop over to Illinois. I've got a few options over there. And then hopefully if things work out correctly, I'm meeting up with the Just One guys and Austin from Tactical Approach. And I think that'd be really fun. So you're more than welcome to join our team if you want to meet us in Missouri. If we end up doing that, I'll actually pay you. And he's like, oh, well, sorry, Just One.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got that. And then there's just a handful. I've met so many people through this show and through Instagram and stuff that are like, hey, come on out. And it's like, it's just a matter of navigating kids and time. And, unfortunately, turkey season is such a short season that it does make it difficult to kind of travel around. At least with deer season, you got a couple months to work with, and turkey just isn't like that. So,
yeah. And I mean, I think that's kind of where I had all these aspirations of trying to, go kill a Merriam this year too. My dream is to kill a Grand Slam first and then, the World Slam. But I mean, like you're saying, the season's just too short. I mean, I think I'm starting to make a few plans for next turkey season with my cousin to go to Florida and maybe kill an Osceola. And I mean, yeah, I better just stick to Rios and Easterns for now and not get too ambitious. My wife is already like, so how long are you going to be turkey hunting for? And I'm like, I don't know. The past 2 years, I've taken off almost every day of each of the 3 weeks that we had in Missouri.
Yeah.
But,
Your guys' season, or Missouri's anyway, is kind of different because in Missouri, it's just like 3 straight weeks, isn't it? Like
it's 3.
Why is it? Do you know why it's like that and it's not broken down into different seasons like
no,
a bunch of other states?
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't know. Yeah, I'm also kind of curious about why we can only hunt until 1:00 in Missouri too.
Yeah.
Which is, I've never understood that, but I don't know if it's something to do with, the time of year for the gobblers to be, if it's just 3 straight weeks and then giving them a full, year's break, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think I had heard, because I think Illinois might be that way too. I had heard that the 1:00 thing has something to do, and this could be completely wrong. So guys, if it is wrong, let me know. Just reach out, and so I don't say it ever again. But I had heard it's got something to do with hunt them in the morning and then giving them time to actually just be birds, because we are hunting them, right, for lack of a better term, during their rut. They're trying to breed, and if we're chasing them all day long and they don't get a chance to actually interact with real hens, well, then we don't have any poults. So
exactly.
If that's not the right answer, it sounds good.
Yeah.
So I'll go with it.
Yeah, but, that's what I'm going to go with.
But hey, man, before we get into the actual meat and potatoes of the show, I'm going to stop, say a quick prayer, and then we'll hop into the actual questions, okay?
Sweet.
All right, Lord Jesus, I thank you for just allowing me to wake up today. I come before you again, just a dirty sinner that has nothing to offer you. There's no reason that you should love me. There's no reason that you should have come down to earth and given your life for me. But you did. And you, by coming down, I mean, that's the greatest act of love the world has ever and will ever see. And so we just thank you so much for that. The Father created such an amazing world. Creation is just, there's so much to enjoy and to love about it. And we only get to enjoy it because of you, Jesus. And so we want to thank you for that. Jesus, I want you to use this podcast before anything else, just to reach your people, to save people, to get you in front of as many people as you can. So use this as your tool first, and then as we talk about hunting and all the great things that you've created that we get to enjoy, after you use this for your purposes, then be with us in this conversation. Allow us to have a fun conversation. And I also want to thank you for Trevyn taking the time out to come hang out with me and talk to me about something that we both just love almost more than anything. I just thank you for him and his life. I thank you for what you've done for him in terms of his call company and that taking off. And he's making some really great stuff. And again, none of this would be possible without you. So we just ask that you would be with us the rest of this conversation. And we ask all this in your great name. Amen.
Amen. Awesome.
Okay, dude. So it's a hunting show. So I've got to ask you, first and foremost, what is your hunting background? How did you get into hunting? You had mentioned you've been doing it your whole life. So what did that look like? What got you hooked into the hunting game?
Yeah, I mean, so I was pretty blessed, to be honest, growing up. My dad and grandpa hunted. I mean, I remember when I was a little kid, just them coming home with their animals. And I mean, I even have pictures on my phone of me as a toddler, holding dead doves, standing with my dad's deer and turkey. And I mean, just that's all I really knew growing up. And I'm very thankful. Hunting has turned out to be, my passion, and I'm very thankful, for the opportunity to pursue that, and, just in all honesty, to glorify the Lord through, using his creation to tell others how good he is.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's been a big blessing. But yeah, I started turkey hunting when I was 6 years old. I think it still is. I think 6 years old is, the youngest you're able to. I don't know if they've changed it or not. But yeah, I killed my first turkey when I was 6. Remember that hunt like
That's
the back
awesome.
of my hand, every detail. And that was pushing 20 years ago. Yeah. And just, I've had a very successful turkey hunting career, and, I thank God for that. But, my dad and grandpa, they really paved the way to, teach me, set me up in the right spots growing up to make it fun. And yeah, I mean, it was awesome. But I've hunted everything, deer, turkey, ducks, geese, dove, just about any, pheasant hunting in Kansas. I mean, we've done it all, and that's kept it pretty fun, for me, honestly. So.
Yeah. So you're just a hunter through and through.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of sometimes feel like I've got the big ones covered. I hunt turkey, I hunt deer, I do a little small game, but I always have people, hey, have you duck hunted? Do you goose hunt? Do you, this and that? And there's just so many things to hunt. I'd love to get into waterfowl. I've heard it's great. It seems like everybody that does it just goes bonkers over it. My only apprehension is it seems like it's extremely expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah.
My hobbies right now are already like pushing it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of scared to get into, try to go duck hunt and be like, oh, this is the greatest. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I need to, spend $50,000 more on stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's kind of rough for me. I got into bass fishing and duck hunting kind of like heavily around like the same time. And I mean, both of those are just stupid expensive to get into. Yes. I mean, you can keep it cheap, but that's no fun. I mean,
you can only keep it cheap for so long.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
Honestly. And I mean, if I'm being honest, it's a lot of fun to spend money on the cool stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't lie about that. But I mean, yeah. So I mean, I've hunted just about everything you can think of, unless you go out west, which that's on the bucket list too. But
yeah, for sure,
turkey hunting's living the dream right there. So
yeah. There's nothing quite like it, at least for what I've done, in terms of just like we were talking about off camera. Deer hunting's great, and I'm sure waterfowl hunting's great. Small game hunting can be a lot of fun, but there's nothing like you making a noise with your mouth or with a call, whatever it is, and having that animal not just react to you. Like, you can rattle in or grunt a buck and have them come, but to actually, like, you talked to that bird, and that bird, you have convinced a wild animal that you are a wild animal, and that thing is coming to you. Yeah. And just the interaction and the conversation, like, you're literally talking to this thing. And I mean, there's just nothing more exciting to me than that.
No, in all honesty, I think that's what draws me to turkey hunting more than anything else, is the communication of you and the animal. Like, some of the most fun that I've had turkey hunting is just chatting back and forth with a hen. Yeah. Because that's just like, wow, I don't know what we're saying, but we're holding a conversation right now. And I mean, that's what's neat is, wow, okay, like, this isn't supposed to, like, in the world, this isn't supposed to happen. Me and a wild animal having a conversation, but it is, and it's exhilarating. And then a big gobbler coming in, just answering your every call. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
But
it's funny too. If you really think about it, you have your your professional callers, your grand national champion guys that are really good at it. And they say, this yelp done this way is saying this. And when you cluck and purr and blah, 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 this is what it's, but it's like, we obviously don't really know what we're saying. Yeah. We have guys have a general idea. They know how to communicate. They know that when I make these noises, this is a reaction I get. But that's an interesting thing. If you were able to somehow tap into that turkey's head, like, what am I actually saying? Like, you could be, hey, Big Tommy, come on over. Or you could be like, you're a bitch. It's like, and that, are you fighting with the hen or the Tom? Like, what exactly are we saying here?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I think, like, from what I've heard, the most common, like, the yelps and the clucks kind of all mean the same thing. Like, hey, I'm over here, like, I'm excited, I don't know why I'm excited, but I'm excited.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I think there's been a few times where I've turned off a few gobblers by, saying the wrong things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's an interesting thing too about, you get in that conversation, or you could be, I mean, as well as anybody, you could be hitting a specific type of call and doing everything you can with a particular glass call or something, or a mouth call. And then you just switch it. And then all of a sudden, bah, there they are. And it's like, they aren't even that far away. And it's like, they obviously were hearing all that and they wanted nothing to do with it. You change that tone slightly and all of a sudden there he is. Now he's fired up. That's one of the more interesting things, because while I can detect slight variances in tone on different calls, like obviously you can tell a big difference between a mouth call and a glass call or a slate call or a box call. Like, they have their own thing, but the fact that I can't tell that it sounds all that much different. And it's very odd that, the slightest little change in tone, your cadence is the same. Usually, I mean, mine is, because I'm just not that good at it yet, but it is funny that it doesn't take much to fire them up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's one thing I've started to learn more as I've started hunting on my own, apart from my dad and grandpa.
Yeah.
Is cadence is everything. Like, people have that perfect, like, cluck, 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 back to, like, just that sequence that everybody knows.
Yep.
But I think that's what gives away more hunters than anything, is just the consistency in your yelps, that not all hens sound that way. I mean, and that's one thing that I've learned these past few years, is these hens could sound like trash and be a real hen. I mean, you can be convinced that that's a hunter, and it's a hen just, walking through the field. And I mean, kind of going back to what you're saying about, different calls. I mean, I remember one year there was a situation, birds on the roost, and I had a glass call and I was just quietly trying to yelp and cluck to get them to gobble on the roost. Nothing. And then I switched to my ceramic call. They start hammering immediately. And I don't understand, but I don't think I'm supposed to understand. And I think that's what's fun about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that part of it is kind of, it's like anything else, any other type of hunting. Like, there comes a point where if you take some of the mystery away from it, or a certain amount of it, like, hunting just would not be the same.
Yeah.
Like, it's good that we know that different tones work at different times, different types of calling work at different times. And that's all we really need to know. You strip any more of that away, and then there's just no mystery, no fun to it.
Exactly.
And kind of talking about, you had mentioned, real hens, the way they sound. My Tom last year, I got him on opening day, and I had that exact thing happen. I was working this bird, and he worked out into a field from the timber, and all of a sudden I hear just this, like, it was terrible. And I was like, my gosh, there's a hunter on the other side of the field. He saw her. He can't call. He's going to spook the bird. And he's calling too much, like, he's just, over and over nonstop. I'm like, this dude, like, it sounds terrible, because I'm also a newer hunter, and it's public land, man. You show up, you do what you do. And, this hunter that I thought was there doesn't know I'm there, and it could be a brand new guy that just doesn't know. But I'm sitting there just furious, because it's like opening day. I'm pumped. I'm working a bird, and I hear this other guy just will not stop yelping. And I'm talking like minutes of just constant. And I'm like, dude, what in the heck? Well, here comes a group of 6 hens. And it was the worst sounding hen I've ever heard in my life. And it was a real hen.
Yeah.
And, it makes you question, like, when we all, we worry about practicing with our calls, making sure we sound right, making sure we get cadence right. And it's like, how important really is that? Because the real hen, and maybe that's the magic of it, because a real hen sounded nasty to me. Maybe that's why sounding nice and sweet what's enticing to the gobbler, because he's like, oh, it's not that nasty chick over there. This one sounds hot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
honestly, I don't know. I think but it could be maybe they're just so used to those birds being around. And, he hears her and he's just like, whatever.
yeah.
That's so-and-so. But I don't know. I've never been inside the mind of a turkey. I think it'd be really neat, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing I've wondered about turkeys too, is like, you would think, these turkeys are together all year round. So I'm sure, I've heard they get to know each other. They know each other's voices, for lack of a better term. And then you come in the picture and you're brand new. Now, I wonder why in that Tom's mind, and maybe this does happen, maybe this is something that happens more than we realize, but I would think that you'd be like, what is that? I haven't heard that all year long. Like, that's not anybody from around here. You would think that they would recognize that, but I mean, time and time again, guys go in and kill turkeys. So maybe it's just like, oh, maybe a turkey moved into town. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think the biggest reason for that, honestly, is, I don't know, because I had a few experiences with birds, kind of like you were saying, not, here, one second, kind of going back, different calling in different situations. Birds don't know who I am. But I don't know if it's like a territorial thing or if it can boil down to, kind of like deer in the rut, like there's a woman over here somewhere. I need to find her, where is she? But yeah.
So what kind of hunter are you in the turkey woods? Myself, I'm very much 100% public land run and gun. Public land strictly because I don't have private land in Iowa available. I will be hunting some private in Illinois, so tactics may change, but I really love run and gun. I can't sit in a blind personally. But what's your favorite type of hunting for turkey?
Yeah, I'm definitely a run and gun guy. I used to be sit in a blind or sit until like 10 o'clock and then go look for a bird, but that got old really quick. But yeah, I'm a run and gun guy. Ever since, there's something about chasing the gobble, that's exhilarating, and I think that's more natural when it comes to, turkey communication, is the hen goes to the gobbler. Yeah. And, I found a lot more, not even successful hunts necessarily, killing a bird, but successful hunts in the way of getting birds to answer back, come within decent range, or, just getting them fired up by chasing them. And I mean, I've had those situations where I've called, sat by a tree, didn't do anything for an hour, and a bird comes up and, silent, and kill a bird that way. But, run and gun is just too much fun to, not do.
Right. So I'm assume you could be one of those magical ninjas who run and guns with a bow. But are you primarily shotgun for turkey?
Yeah, I'm a shotgun turkey hunter.
What's your favorite turkey gun?
So I have, oh goodness gracious, my dad had an 1187 that just turkey killing machine. Yeah. But I got a Winchester SXP in it's the waterfowl edition, but it's in bottomland camo. And I mean, the first time using that gun, I actually didn't kill the first bird with that gun. I took a kid youth hunting, and he used my gun. I was using the Longbeard XR choke by Carlson, and it was like 6:45 in the morning, so right at shooting time, and 5 gobblers just run up, and there's a little bush, and I had 3.5s, and I don't use 3.5s anymore.
How old was this kid?
He was like 12, 13. He was young, but he was big enough to handle it. Okay. And so I give him the gun, and he's like, it's kind of through the bush, but I can see him. And I'm like, you're going to punch through that bush. You're going to kill that bird.
Yeah.
And he did. That bird was like 30 yards away. He smoked that bird. And yeah, that was the end of that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what's your favorite way to locate turkeys when you're running and gunning? Do you have one call that you kind of tend to use more often than not, or do you just owl, crow, whatever the hell you can think of in the moment?
Honest, it's varied a lot these past few years. I have been primarily like an owl guy.
Yeah.
I love to hoot. I've started just using my mouth. I think that's a lot of fun, but
yeah,
it annoys my wife like nobody's business. Just doing it around the house, and
that's turkey hunting.
Yeah, honestly, and I there was another youth season, a different youth season that I could not. There were these 3 birds that me and this kid were chasing around this one property all day. Like they would just go in a circle. We would chase them in a full circle, and like I would try to like cut quick to get them to gobble just to find them. Nothing was working except for a crow call. And so I'd hit the crow call, and then they'd gobble, and then they wouldn't gobble at anything else. And then an hour and a half later, crow call, they'd be 50, 60 yards past where I thought they were.
Yeah.
And so that was a pretty annoying experience, if I'm being honest. But it was a lot of fun. Those birds were fun to chase. We ended up killing one of them, during the regular season, or 2 of them during the regular season. And then just those quick cuts. I like to use this. I'm not sponsored by Woodhaven, obviously, but the Woodhaven Ninja. I don't know if it's Ninja Hammer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I love that.
That is my favorite mouth call.
That's what I killed my bird last year on. That's what I finished it with.
Oh, yeah. That is one of the best made mouth calls I think I've ever used.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I was at this new property and I could not figure out these birds, and then I would cut with that thing, and then one would gobble just out of nowhere, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna carry this call for the rest of my life. And, and then their little copperhead, the one that just super soft, I've used that and love that call. This isn't a paid advertisement by Woodhaven, but I really enjoy
not yet.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I've used my truck's horn, got him to gobble that way.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't recommend that all the time, but
yeah,
I needed to, and it worked.
Sometimes you just gotta shock them. You know, if that's what works, that's what works.
Exactly. And they'll gobble at. And this isn't me, but thunder, and I can just figure out where they are by that, and that works really well. And that doesn't give away my position at all either. But I've used just about anything you can use, honestly.
Yeah. Have you ever bow hunted for them? Have you shot one with a bow?
So I've never killed one with a bow, but I have. It was in the fall, and I was like 13 years old. I just started bow hunting. There's a group of 15 hens that are traveling just perfect 30 yards away, and I'm shaking like a leaf because I didn't expect to see any turkey.
Yeah.
And they just walk right past, and I shoot just right over the back. I think I might hit a few feathers, but yeah. I want to start bow hunting for turkey. But I'd like to get that shotgun kill out of the way before I start doing that. And then that turns into, I'll just keep using my shotgun. But
yeah, well, I've said it before. I'll say it again. God designed turkeys to be shot with shotguns.
Yeah.
That's just, it's not that you can't use another method. And I would love to shoot one with a bow. I would love to go every other type of hunting. I would like to gravitate towards bow only. I really love archery, but it just doesn't make sense to me to not use a shotgun on turkey.
Yeah.
That's part, like, bow hunting a turkey doesn't feel like it's got the same, like, traditional, just like I'm going turkey hunting feel to it, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's kind of why I've, stayed away from that. I mean, I've seen countless videos on YouTube of people doing it and it looks great, but I mean, what happens if it's 11 o'clock and in Missouri and you got to get on the ground and start walking? I mean, I think it would be pretty cool to get like a decoy that attaches to my bow and kind of reap one that way. Yeah. I did this past year use the scoot and shoot for the first time ever, and opening day, greatest experience that I've ever had. I had 3 longbeard. I was walking across this field. I was chasing another bird, and these I'm kind of hiding behind my decoys. I'm running across this short field, and I look, and I just see like one red head sticking straight up, and I'm like, oh, there goes my morning. And then I kind of like squat down, and I look, and I see 2 more heads pop up. I'm like, they're probably gonna run, but I'm gonna stay right here. And I kind of look down, and I'm messing with my gun, and I don't see them. And then I look the other side of my decoy, and they're about 20 yards running straight at me as fast as they can. And I'm like trying to cut to get them to stop, but they're coming to kick my butt. And I shot one of them, and they didn't get. I mean, it wasn't until I got up and grabbed my bird that those birds weren't gonna mess with me anymore. I threw my decoy down, and they were still gobbling, and then they jumped and ran off when they saw I wasn't. But that was a lot of fun. I'm gonna try to do it again this year, but
yeah, that sounds like that would be a blast. And I think, I would love, like I said, I would love to shoot one with a bow, but I don't know, it doesn't seem as fun. Like for me personally, like my buddy Tom, he has land over in Illinois, and last year he set up a blind, shot one with a bow, and it just seems to me like, for me, all of the fun in turkey hunting is locating, hearing that gobble, and trying to move, and then locating, hearing it, and actually working into that bird. And then obviously you hit a point where, you sit down, you shut up.
Yeah.
Which that can be a challenge all in itself. When to sit down, when to shut up.
Yeah.
I know last year there was a particular bird. I heard him. He's farther off, and like, how I'm playing the game.
Yeah.
And I just got too aggressive, and it was a little bit windy, so I couldn't hear him all that well. And I think I misjudged how far he was, and I rookie mistake. I just kept yelping, trying to get him to answer. I guess that's a good kind of question for like a newer hunter. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of figure out when it's time to push and when it's time to just sit down and shut up?
Yeah. That's a great question. And especially, I think that's a great, like you're saying, a great topic for the new guys, because I love to just call. I love to hear them gobble. I could care less to kill a bird. I just want to like work one, if I'm being completely honest. But I mean, there was a situation 4 years ago that I had 2 birds on a string, and they were committed. They were, it was every 20 yards they'd gobble. I'd call, they'd gobble, and then I'd stop. 20 yards closer, gobble, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to call. They're coming. And they did. They came right in. Me and my buddy doubled up.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a blast. And then last year, kind of the same situation, chasing another bird, and these birds 300 yards away start gobbling. And I'm like, okay, I don't need to worry about these guys. There's one 40 yards on this hillside, and then 200 yards, 100 yards, 75. And I'm like, okay, these birds are coming on a string. I need to sit and shut up. But that other bird, he was just standing on that hill gobbling. He had no interest in coming to me.
Yeah.
And so I ended up missing one of those birds, which, I mean, it was bound to happen. Getting them on a string, I can't get that lucky all the time. But yeah, I don't know. There's also been situations where I've been calling like crazy and those birds will come in. I think oftentimes, like, there's been situations where I've spooked a lot of birds because they get so close, don't see a hen. And that was kind of the problem with those birds is, this past year, I left my vest behind and a little bit of the black on my vest was showing as I was sneaking on this other bird. And I mean, they didn't see a hen. And so they got a little nervous and kind of hung out around 40 yards away, which is a totally doable shot. But I like to stay within 30 yards, 35 yards. But I mean, they just, didn't see a hen and kind of just tried to skirt on out of there before I took a shot. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of a specific situation where calling a lot played in my favor really well. Other than locating a bird, I don't think I've had crazy amounts of luck just hammering off every single time they gobble. I like to wait. After the third gobble, like in a row, then I'll call again. And I like to keep pretty conservative when I call. That being said, I'll call every 10 minutes to get one to fire up, which I don't really recommend that either. I think I just get a little too impatient and I get ready for birds to start moving. But
I think that's one of the biggest demises of especially inexperienced turkey hunters. And I'm speaking as one of them. It's kind of like what you were saying, like when you hear that first gobble, you just want to hear another one.
Yeah.
And you want to hear another one. And you can get really carried away, really roped in. Like you get scared. Like if you and he hammers right back and you do it again, he hammers right back. And then you do it again and then he doesn't make any noise.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh no, where'd he go?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, for newer guys, be aware, like that happens a lot.
Yeah.
You're gonna get them fired up and they go silent.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen every time, but they will go silent. Yeah. And that's going to make you get impatient. It's going to make you want to get up and move. This is where I've said on Instagram a few times now, sit down. And when you feel like it's time to get up and move, sit down for 10 more minutes. Give yourself that 10 more minutes every single time, because I can't tell you how many stories and how many times it's happened to me where, okay, he's not making any noise. He's either gone or whatever the deal is. I got to go find him. And you find him because when you stand up, you watch him run off.
Yep. Yeah. And honestly, like when they stop gobbling, they're coming right to you. I mean, they're hot on it. I mean, those birds that I doubled up with one of my buddies, I mean, like I said, they were gobbling every 20 yards, and then about 50 yards they stopped. And so I'm like, okay, I need to locate these birds. I don't know where they are. And then they gobble 10 yards behind me. And so, I mean, they're looking for you. They're coming quick. And I think those situations where you're calling out a bird, they're hammering and coming, I would just like every 5-6 gobbles just let out a yelp, because they know exactly where you are and they're gonna come right to the exact spot. My grandpa's told me stories of birds that he's killed where he's just sat next to a tree, let out a few clucks and just took a nap, and then an hour later a bird gobbles 20 yards from him and wakes up and kills him. I mean, it happens, and it happens a lot, and I think I need to learn to be more patient doing that. But it's just so much fun to just call and run. And
I was gonna say it's hard, especially when for like guys like us, where like I love just the hunt of run and gun. Like I love it. It's hard to sit past a half hour. You want to just get up and move. And especially, again, another thing for guys, if you're going into your first season this year, along with them shutting up, I can't prove this because I don't follow turkeys around, but I've heard from plenty of guys that have a lot of experience that you may hear them or you may call and not hear anything. And that bird might go silent if they did gobble one time. They how do they explain it? Basically, the turkey has an agenda, and he added you to the list.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not up next.
Yeah.
So he may be headed somewhere first and then come back around. And I think that's where that 10 to 20 minute buffer where you just need to sit down. But I mean, I'm sure you've heard too, like stories where, like you said with your grandpa, it's over an hour before that turkey finally gets you. You're finally next in line, and now they're going to come check you out and understand, like Trevyn was saying, those birds with their senses, they know when they hear you, especially if they gobble, kind of letting you know they heard you. They know exactly what tree you're on. Like they know exactly where to go.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get lost coming for you. And that's one thing I was, you worry about. You're like, oh, where'd he go? I don't hear him.
Mm-hmm.
He knows, more likely than not, he's going to come back around to you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, the countless number of times that I've, had a gobbler hammering back, there's a lot of times that there's a hen with them. And she's on, you're saying, on the agenda right then. It's her turn.
Right.
You're down on the list a little bit. And, yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard it better than that. Like, they do have a system. Like, getting up, going to work, you have your daily schedule. They got their schedule. And they're going to follow that schedule, until 10, 11 o'clock. And they're like, all right, where are the girls at? I need to find, I need to find someone. And I mean, every time I've struck a bird up at 10 or 11, it most of the time has resulted in a dead bird. And yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to, I know a lot of the birds that I've done a lot of scouting, about a week before season opens, for the week. Yeah. And the patterns of birds, they're very just like us. They do the same thing with an off day doing something else. And so, yeah, I think you put it perfectly. They got an agenda, and you're the last on the agenda.
Yeah.
And they're going to come to you whenever it's your turn.
Right. So I don't want to close this thing down without talking about Batey custom calls. Like I said earlier on, guys, he's making excellent sounding calls. They look great. They sound great. They feel great. So how did that thing come to be?
Yeah. So kind of like we were talking before, I went on my honeymoon, and, we roll up to this river in Arkansas where, we're going to go fish, just take some time. It's a really nice day in October. And, we go down there, and there's just slate everywhere. 12 months out of the year, turkey are on my mind. And so I see slate, and I'm like, I wonder, I know NWTF posted some, videos of them using pieces of slate to make calls. And I was like, I mean, if they can do it, I can do it. I mean, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And, I pick up a few pieces. I get home, grab my striker, and I'm like, yeah, I need to make something with this. And so I'm deer hunting all year. There's this turtle shell that's sitting under the cedar tree all year. And I'm like, I'm going to pick it up next time. And the last day of season, I actually picked it up, and, my cousin, Connor, was helping me, cut it, glue it together to where there's kind of like a chamber, for noise to amplify, and I glued the slate on top. And I mean, it didn't sound great, but I was pumped to just to see that come together, because I'm pretty positive that's what Native Americans used to use. And they got creative with it. And I'm really not trying to brag, but I've killed a lot of birds, and I've experienced a lot of turkey hunting. So I thought it would be so cool to try something new. And then I talked to my wife one day. I was like, I wonder if I could just start making real pot calls. She
Yeah.
was like, I mean, yeah, I think we can wait until next year. And I was like, nah, if I got something in my mind, I got to start now. And, you know, she was kind of against it at first, but she quickly came around. She was like, if you're going to do this, then let's jump into it. Let's do what we need to do. And that was really all I needed to, you know, just start, kind of get it going. I've sold a handful of calls now, and the whole reason I started the company was first and foremost to, you know, share the gospel through, you know, conversation that I can make with people. And, you know, like through some of the strikers, I've started engraving some of my favorite Bible verses on, and I really started doing that just this past week, and my wife's been helping me with that. But, you know, I'm just praying that strikes up a, you know, like, oh, what Bible verse is this? And, you know, kind of just stirs like the affection towards Jesus more, you know, through seeing, you know, like, oh, this is God's creation, you know, like you know, like we prayed earlier, you know, if it wasn't for Jesus, we wouldn't be able to experience that. And,
Absolutely.
you know, I just want to give him all the glory, you know, for this company. And, you know, I think, you know, the second I start getting a big head about this is all me is not necessarily when it's all going to crash down, but when I think I need to stop, because this is all about him. And I'm going to use this as a platform to amplify his name and to encourage others to get outdoors and turkey hunt, but also spend time in creation and get to know Jesus, because he is, you know, our Savior. And yeah, I just want to tell others about that, because that is very important to me. Along, like, you know, my other like selfish reason for starting the company is I'd love to just see how many birds people can kill and see if these work. You know, I'm really excited. Like, I'm just very thankful for all the feedback that I've gotten. Is like a lot of people are just like, man, these calls sound really good. And I'm like, I just started. Like, Woodhaven's been doing this for years, and, you know, I love those guys. They make incredible calls. And I'm just like, what? You know, praise God. You know, thank you for trusting me, you know, to supply you with a call this year. You know, I'm excited to see you guys kill birds.
Yeah. So. And I own, you know, quite a few different types of pot calls. And, I definitely, you know, my Woodhaven Cherry Crystal, I'll use that till the day I die. Absolutely. Or till it breaks. Yeah. My wife, that was my first one my wife got me, and she had my boy's picture put in on the soundboard. But as you know, as we talked about, that's not going to work all the time. And I have not found another call that fit the bill like yours did. And it's no joke. I mean, I'm not sitting here you're on the show, so I'm going to tell you how great it is. I've tried other calls. I've tried other people's calls. Your calls sound just as good as the top-notch calls that I've tried. And it's crazy because, you know, I don't know everything that goes into making a pot call. Like, I don't know, you know, did you go on Google and how do you make, you know, like, I don't know how you figured it out, but they sound excellent, like legitimately good. They're not just like, yeah, I'm going to tell you they're great, and it's not going to actually go in my vest. Like, I'm going to rely heavily on that call this year. Like, it does sound that good. And it's kind of the call you made me, which was ceramic. Originally, you know, I was like, hey, maybe a slate call. That ceramic call, you can run it nice and soft and just real sweet like the slate. But that joker gets loud too. Yeah. You can get a real loud, hard rasp out of that thing too. I have just really enjoyed it, and that's why I'm annoying the shit out of my family with it, because you know, I'm always just sitting there, over and over. I mean, honestly, it's sitting. Just so you know, I'm telling you the truth.
Heck yeah, man!
It's right here. It's in my vest.
That's awesome.
You know,
I appreciate that. Yeah, like my biggest thing, you know, if I wouldn't use it, you know, if I don't have faith in it working, and if I wouldn't go out and have confidence in using it, I'm not gonna sell it to somebody, and
Yeah.
that's kind of whenever you approached me with like, hey, can you make me a slate call? I'm looking to get really soft, you know, and I mean, I assume you hunt primarily pretty flat land,
Yeah.
and with
Yep.
some like river, you know, creek
Type
bottoms, yeah.
stuff. Yep.
And I was just like, man, if he could just have like, because I'd use ceramic, in the Ozark Hills,
Yeah.
and I love my ceramic call, and so I was like, slate would be good, but let me just try to put you on the ceramic, and if you like it, great. If not, I'll make you a slate one, and that's no big deal. But yeah, I mean, if I have faith in it, then that's what I'm going to put out. I'm not going to, just try to pass something off as like, oh, this might work,
Right.
give it a try. No, I mean, and that's why I'm very thankful. I have a lot of friends that turkey hunt, so they can be, real critiques of me and be like, hey,
Oh,
I
yeah.
like this. Hey, try something different, see what you think. And, luckily enough, the consensus have been, pretty even across the board of like, hey, these sound really good. And I mean, my biggest approval was my dad being like, yeah, can you make me one of those same calls you? And I was like,
Yeah.
man, I'm not to brag, but that kind of just solidified that I'm the best turkey hunter in my family, for me anyway. And yeah, but it's
Yep.
always cool to get dad's approval of like, hey, that's a good sounding call, because he's the one that taught me. He showed me
Yeah.
everything. I had some of his calls that he handed me down. So if he wants to use my call, I think it's pretty, I think if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for a lot of people. And so, but
Oh yeah. And a dad, like, well, if you've got a good dad, like a good dad, he's not going to tell you, "No, buddy, it sounds great."
yeah,
And then turn around and be like, "Oh, that sounded
yeah,
terrible." Like a good dad's going to shoot you straight, and when you get dad's approval on something, it does mean a lot,
yeah,
especially, when your dad who's turkey hunted his whole life, and he taught you, and when that guy, it's just like that final stamp of approval
yeah,
that, yeah, this thing is legit, because this guy's not going to bullshit me,
yeah, exactly. And I mean, just even whenever I started turkey hunting on my own, um, I mean, there was a lot of, I don't want to say criticism, but like more along the lines of criticism and like, hey, that's not going to work. But I think that's where I learned like the scoot and shoot. He was like, dude, that's
yeah.
too big. It's going to spook birds. And I'm like, no, it's early in the season. I really think this is going to work. And he was like, well, you can try it, but don't let me say I told you so. And then 8 o'clock in the morning, I end up killing my bird. And so I think just like the time and time again where he's like, I don't think that's going to work, and me doing it and it works has kind of brought him like, okay, these calls, if Trevyn
Yeah.
thinks they'll work, then they might work. And I think that's the biggest compliment there, is being able to be like, hey, Dad, I think you'd like this call. And he'd be like, yeah, I like that call. And so,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, hey, I really appreciate hanging out with you tonight. Thanks so much for coming on here with me. I'm so excited to use this call. I can't wait for turkey season. I know we're all just sitting here just chomping at the bit. Like, it seems so close, but it's still so far away. But it'll be here before we know it. And yeah, I'm definitely, this is gonna be the first Yelp of the season for sure. This is my well, it's in my starting lineup, but it's gonna be first up to bat. We'll send that one out first, and then we'll see what old Woodhaven needs to do after that. But I don't think Woodhaven's gonna have to do much, because this thing is sweet. But yeah, hey man, let everybody know where they can find you online. Where can they find Batey Custom Calls if they're interested? And you guys should be. And this isn't a situation where I'm partnering with him or anything. I really, honestly, these are great calls. So tell them where they can check you out.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, and I'm primarily on Instagram. I'm a lot more active on Instagram, but at Batey Custom Calls is my Instagram tag, and then just Batey Custom Calls on Facebook. And then the email's the same, Batey Custom Calls. I know after a lot of my parents' friends were like, hey, I want to buy a call, but I don't use social media. I was like, maybe I should get an email for the older crowd or the younger crowd that uses email. But yeah, Batey Custom Calls, that's pretty much across the board everything. I got a website coming soon that I'm not very website savvy, but my wife's helping me put one together, and I mean that'll be up very soon, so that'll make it a lot easier. But
yeah, well, good deal, man. Guys, check him out. Batey Custom Calls. If you're looking for a new pot call, correct me if I'm wrong, but you offer pretty much any surface that they would be interested in.
Yeah. I mean, I got copper. My favorite, I have two favorites right now, and it's the two that I'm going to primarily run this year, is black aluminum and a red slate. And I mean, those two surfaces, and I'm not, trying to upsell those, but those two are my favorite. And I mean, actually, after I posted that, it's called the Okie Mud. If you guys are curious about my favorite call, it's the Okie Mud. My wife named it. She's really proud of that name. And I mean, that call is just, I mean, it's versatile, but it also, in my opinion, I mean, it just hits those notes that real hens will hit that you won't expect a regular slate call to make. And that's the Paduke wood and red slate put together with the glass soundboard. But yeah, after that call, I mean, there's like 5 guys that were like, hey, can you make me that exact call? My dad being one of them, he was like, can you make me that exact call?
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it's a fun journey. And, I thank the Lord every morning that, I'm able to do this for him. And I give him full, permission if I start making this about myself to knock me down real quick and not let me forget where this comes from.
Awesome, dude. Well, guys, again, check him out. Great calls, great company. Now, after talking to you, I didn't realize, you're a Christian and not afraid to share it, and I appreciate that too. So you've got my customership, or if that's even a word, for the rest of your time.
Well,
but,
I appreciate it.
Guys, check him out at Batey Custom Calls on Instagram and everywhere else he mentioned. Make sure you're checking us out too, or you're following us over on Instagram. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're at AntlerFeatherCo on all of those. I think we're floating around Twitter too. That kind of gets the scraps from everything else. But if you guys learned something, if you enjoyed this show, if you've got something new you can take in the woods with you, please like, subscribe, share, rate, and review. When you guys do that, it just helps me get this show in front of more people. Obviously, we want to grow this show, not for selfish reasons, not because I want to try to make $1 million off this thing, but because I want to reach as many new hunters, as many experienced hunters as I can. So when you guys do all that stuff, that allows the show to spread, and it allows me to keep bringing great guests on like we had tonight. So, I forgot my own tagline, which is ultimately going to make you more deadly in the woods. I almost ruined my own show. But hey, guys, we'll catch up with you guys next week. This is the Antler and FeatherCo Podcast. You are listening to the Antler and FeatherCo Podcast.